Alright, hey guys, I'm going to make this tutorial for you guys. I have not really made tutorials before, so I'm sorry if this is a horrible tutorial video. I couldn't even figure out how to get all the windows on the same screen, but here we go. So, I guess first let me do this. Let me just show you quickly what a regular button looks like, and then I'll explain why I'm making this tutorial, and then how I did it, I guess. Alright, so here is just a regular power box prop, and then there is actually a button on here, like a funk button sticking out of it. All it does is you push the button, the gate opens. Okay, there's some other stuff in there having to do with lights and the gate closing and all of that, but for the most part, push the button, the gate opens. Alright. And then over here, how I have it set up is there's actually a math counter right here, and it requires two things to open this gate. And so like when I click this button, nope, not that one. Let me get closer. When I click this button, it subtracts 1 from the math counter. And when I click this button, it subtracts 2 from the math counter. The maximum is 2, so on the math counter, and so when it hits the minimum, it opens the door. That's how it's set up. There's some lights and whatever. But we're gonna make this video about a different gate. It's this gate. This exit gate that we're calling gate D. And then this is the power box that goes along with gate D. Now if I click on this right now, this is what I get. Nothing. Nothing changes. Make some noises. Hey man. Okay. The gate does not open. And this is because it is tied, this particular button is actually tied to a logic relay. And so now I'm going to explain why that is the case. So hammer. Alright, hopefully you guys can see this okay. Alright, so in the past button, let me take this off. In the past, you would have, like here is your fence, right? And you would parent this fence, let's put this back up, make sure it is recording it. Yep, okay, you would parent this fence, come on, fence, there we go. You would parent this fence to the funk door. And so the funk door, it's right here. Funk door gate D1. Fence is parented to the funk door gate D1. Here it is. The problem is, I can't, like the button itself can open the gate and that's how all the rest of them work. But I did not want the player to be able to push this button right away. I wanted them to meet certain conditions first. So in my level, the conditions they have to meet is they were supposed to hit this button first, which is the light pink button for gate D. And they were supposed to also come over here into this little room and hit this button, which is the lime button. And when the lime and the light pink button are created, I wanted them to be able to hit this button. So I tried a variety of things here. I tried to lock it and unlock it. Didn't work. Don't know if that's a bug or not, but it didn't work. Caused a lot of other problems for my other gates, so I looked for other solutions. I tried to use the open and close animation. I tried to, on the power box itself, the prop, that wasn't working. I tried to embed the button, and then like when you opened it, you could press it. I tried to put a clip brush, like this one here, on it, which would have looked like this. The problem is, and my thought was that if I put the clip brush on it, I could start it enabled, and then when the conditions were met, through the math counter, I could then call this clip brush and kill it. Disable it, kill it, whatever, off the map, and then you would have access to the funk button behind it. The problem is, this clip, you can't name it. You can't name it, so you can't call it. And that's a real issue. And so that was the problem I was running into, and after a long, long time, I actually was watching this YouTube video, which is not about doors and all of that, but it's about logic relays and these soldiers and triggering a series of events. But I'm going to show it to you, this hammer tutorial 57 multi-toggle button. The web address is right here if you want to pause the video and write it down, type it in. But This helped me realize how I can solve this problem. So now what I have is this button is always here, but this button does not open the gate anymore. Now this button, when you press it, it triggers a relay. Right here, triggers this logic relay. This logic relay now opens the gate. It also plays a sound and turns on a light and off a light, but for the most part, we're talking about this. When you push the func button that you would have normally pushed to open other doors or whatever, now it is activating a logic relay, and the logic relay opens the gate. All right, cool. Just to show you, okay, on press, actual button down here is triggered. So I called this the actual button. Okay, that's great, but that still opens the gate. So the reason I did it this way is because the logic relay can have a name, therefore it can be enabled on or disabled off. So I have started it disabled. So if I ran up to it like I showed you earlier and hit the button, it's not going to do anything because there is no logic relay in the scene yet. I have to create a situation where the logic relay appears in the scene. And that is where a listener comes in. This cube right here. Okay, this is a logic branch listener. To be clear, I am not using the math counter on this other gate. You can probably, but I didn't use it. I used this method instead. So now I have a logic branch listener. I called it listener gate D because we were talking about gate D. And it is listening for branch 1 and branch 2. It is waiting for tests to come back true. And when all the tests are true, it enables the actual gate button relay. It enables the logic relay that was over there. So when they're both true. So I have one set up for each of the lime button and the pink button boxes. So it's listening for branch 1 and branch 2. So I had to create two other things. Let me back up. Here they are on the ground. It's kind of all over the place. Sorry. Okay, so branch 1 is here. There are no, well, there's an output. What it's doing is it's testing it to see if the condition is true. And then there's 2, and it's also doing that, logic branch 2. They're just here. They're just, all they're doing is testing. They're testing for this listener gate. But what's actually happening, if I go over to my pink button and I click on it, this, instead of now subtracting from the math counter, which I do have it actually set up to still do that, but I don't have it hooked up, I just need to take it out of my code. This is what's important. When this button is pressed, it toggles the test on branch 1. Okay, so now when you push it, branch 1 is good, and if you come over here to the little room with the second box, when you push this one, lime button, it toggles the test for branch 2. So there's branch 1, branch 2, and the listener gate is listening for branch 1 and branch 2. So if both buttons have been pressed and toggled test is true, all are true, and when all are true, the relay is enabled. And once the relay is enabled, it is now on the map, which means that if I push this button and this is enabled, this will now open the gate over there because I have it set up for on trigger func door gate 1. This all works. I'll show you. So right now I don't believe I've pushed those other ones. So yeah, if I push it, nothing happens. It is because the logic gate is not enabled. It is because the listener has not received all true tests from the branch 1 and 2, which were right here, branch 1 and branch 2. If I come over here to my light pink button, pink right there, I trigger that on, and so I had some lights attached to it. So this just lets you know that I did actually hit it. Some feedback over here attached to that. And so now branch 1 would be true. But not all are true, so the listener isn't satisfied. Here's the lime. Lime is now true, which means branch 2 is now true. And the listener should be satisfied. So all all are true, all tests are true, should have enabled the logic relay that was sitting here. And now, if I hit this button that triggers the logic relay, it will actually work because there's a logic relay to trigger. And the logic relay is set to open this gate, and it worked. And that's it, guys. So this is one way, and it's a little complex, but it's one way to make it to where you cannot press a button until you are ready for the player to press a button. That's the point of this. All right, thanks.